All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something that affects every single one of us, our communities. As our cities and towns get bigger and bigger, how do we make sure they're not just bigger, but better? How do we build places that are great to live in and are also sustainable for the long haul?
No, really, just for a second, what do you love about where you live? Is it the park down the street? The fact that you can walk to grab a snack? Is it your school, your friends? That feeling of just being safe? All those things, that's what we call livability.
And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Our communities are growing, they're changing, so how do we get that balance right between welcoming new people and keeping that quality of life we love? Well, to even start answering that, we've got to get a couple of key terms straight. To really get a grip on how our communities are changing, we need to be super clear on two ideas. They sound almost the same, but trust me, they're really, really different: urbanization and urban growth. So here's the breakdown. Urbanization is all about the percentage, the slice of the pie. It's about what proportion of a country's population lives in a city. But urban growth, that's just the raw number of people. And knowing the difference is absolutely key to understanding what's going on right here in Canada. And this graph, it tells the whole story. See, Canada is already super urbanized. About 80% of us live in cities, and that percentage, our urbanization, has been pretty flat for decades. But, and this is the important part, the total number of people in those cities keeps going up. That's urban growth, and it's mostly driven by people moving here from all over the world for new opportunities. Now, Canada definitely has its own challenges with this growth, but, in many developing countries, the stakes are way, way higher. When growth happens that fast and without a plan, it can create these massive economic, environmental, and even political problems. Economically, you get situations like this. Places like Shenzhen have had an incredible economic boom, but it's put unbelievable pressure on housing. They call these handshake buildings because they're packed so tight, just a meter apart, you could literally reach out your window and shake hands with your neighbor. It's a powerful image of what happens when growth just completely outpaces planning. And the environmental side of it, wow, it can be just devastating. When cities grow without any formal plan, you end up with informal settlements, like Kibera in Kenya. We're talking about places with no basic services, no reliable clean water, no sanitation, no garbage pickup. It creates huge health and environmental problems for the millions of people living there.
And you can't forget the political side. During the racist apartheid system in South Africa, black citizens were forced to live in segregated areas called townships, like Soweto. But these places, which were created to enforce inequality, they actually became the very heart of the resistance. This photo is from the Soweto Uprising, a huge turning point in the fight for justice.
Okay, so let's bring it back home to Canada. Our biggest growth challenge looks a bit different, but it has a name I'm sure you've heard before: urban sprawl. So what is sprawl? To put it simply, it's our habit of building out instead of building up. It's that classic pattern of new subdivisions with single-family homes that just keep pushing the edge of the city farther and farther into what used to be countryside and farmland. And this has been happening for a long time. Just look at this graph. For major cities like Calgary and Toronto, the amount of land they cover has more than doubled since 1970. That's a massive expansion. So the question becomes, what do we do about it? Well, one of the most powerful tools we have to fight sprawl is something called a greenbelt. And right here in Ontario, we have a huge one. The Greater Golden Horseshoe Greenbelt is basically a giant protected ring of nature around our fastest growing region. It's us as a province drawing a line and saying, nope, we're not developing here. We're saving this farmland, these forests, and these wetlands for the future. Protecting that farmland brings up a really interesting debate. What's better, eating globally or eating locally? I mean, eating globally is great, right? You get bananas in January, you support farmers in other countries. But eating locally supports our farmers, it's fresher, and it's way better for the environment. A greenbelt helps make eating locally a real, practical choice for more people.
Okay, so if we can't just keep sprawling out forever, then we have to get creative. We need to think differently about how we build. This is all about designing communities that are smarter, not just bigger.
And that starts with the actual buildings. You've probably heard of green buildings. Well, it's a real thing. There are specific design choices you can make to use way less energy and water. And there are even certification systems, like LEED, that basically give a building a report card on how environmentally friendly it is. And check this out. This is a perfect example right here in Ontario. The Dr. David Suzuki Public School in Windsor isn't just a place for learning, the building itself is a lesson.
It's LEED Platinum, which is the best rating you can get, and it uses 71% less energy than a regular school. It's proof that we can absolutely build this way.
So if the opposite of sprawl is building up, the technical term for that is land use intensification. It sounds complicated, but it just means using the space we already have inside our cities better. You know, building on an empty lot, turning an old factory into apartments, that kind of thing.
But look, this isn't an easy choice, and cities all over are wrestling with it. London, Ontario is a great example. They have a real decision to make. Do they go with the classic spread model and build new suburbs on farmland? Or do they choose the compact model and build more within the city they already have? Both options have some serious pros and cons.
And how we build our cities is totally connected to how we get around in them. I mean, if we want to build sustainable communities, we have to rethink our complete reliance on cars for every single trip. One of the coolest ideas in city planning right now is the 20-minute neighborhood. And the concept is so simple, but it's also powerful. It's about designing our communities so that everything you need for your daily life, shops, school, a park, is within a 20-minute walk or bike ride from your home.
So what does that actually look like on the ground? Well, it's not just one thing, it's a mix, it's a recipe. You need different kinds of housing. You need little local shops. You need schools and parks. And you need good public transit connecting it all. It's all those pieces working together that create a place where you don't have to jump in a car for everything.
And listen, this isn't some fantasy. This is happening. Ontario's Big Move Plan is a massive, real-world project to totally transform how we get around in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. Just look at these goals. They are all about making it easier to take transit or walk or bike. It's basically the 20-minute neighborhood idea, but scaled up for a whole region.
So at the end of the day, what's the big takeaway? I think it's that building a great community is never really finished. It's a journey. The choices about how we grow, how we build, and how we move are happening all the time. So the real question for all of us is, what part are we going to play in shaping the future of the places we call home?